Thank you. So, I'm Zoe. I'm 19, and currently I'm studying theology and youth ministry at a Bible college just down the road from here. I became a Christian when I was 11, but never really thought, especially when I was in secondary school, that tied in with what I was doing in my lessons with my friends. But just through spiritual growth and stuff, when I was about 16, something in my heart really changed. And I also moved schools, and as Catherine said, I led a prayer space when I was in my sixth form. And so I'm here today to tell you a bit about how that happened and maybe spur you on to encourage someone you know who could run a prayer space as a student. Okay, so how did it happen? I had recently moved to LMS, Lady Margaret School, for sixth form, which is a girls' school that has over 600 pupils, including sixth formers, and it also had a Church of England ethos. I quickly joined the Christian Union, and Mr. Howard, who ran the CU, wanted to spend the first few sessions praying and thinking about what God wanted to do this year. The overwhelming sense was that God wanted to make himself known to the students in a fresh way, that the chapel wouldn't be this gloomy, kind of dull place that only the hardcore Christians entered, but in fact would be open for all, would be familiar, would be just a place in the school that everyone felt comfortable going in. And prayer just seemed to tie all our ideas about creativity, connecting with God, dealing with the questions that a lot of the girls had. Prayer just tied all these things together. So why did I decide to host a prayer space over anything else? Like Catherine said, Mr. Howard had heard of prayer spaces in schools from a friend and encouraged me to check out the website and see if it could work for our school. When I fed back that it looked perfect for what he wanted, he told me that I should lead it, which was a bit of a surprise. I thought I'd just be kind of running along with him. But two key reasons why he thought sixth formers should lead it, and I agreed with him, was that we actually have a lot more time than teachers. When I was in year 12, I had 8 to 10 free periods a week, which I was in school, I had an hour or so, which I could do study, and I did, but I also could plan a prayer space. And so that's a really good reason to get especially sixth formers involved. And the second reason for sixth formers is that they're looking for more responsibility. They're known, they're trusted in the school, they're 16, 17, 18, and they're also thinking about UCAS, university, what things look good. I mean, that's quite a superficial reason, but you'll find out that it actually did help me a lot just by doing something and getting the responsibility. How did it happen? By November, we had decided to host a prayer space, and to give myself lots of time, we arranged to run it in March. And as per Mr. Howard's suggestion, I got in contact with Catherine, and she was incredibly helpful, a true prayer space expert. And she came and arranged to meet with me at school to discuss how it could work. And she also put me in touch with Bill Cusack, who's a curate here at HDB, which was such a valuable connection because he was really helpful with the practical side of things. So after that discussion, I knew I had to get a team around me. So I found my Christian friends and in the sixth form, and we started to brainstorm what ideas we'd like to see happen in a prayer space in the chapel. After we'd thought of everything we wanted, we then realised it'd be a good time to get the head's permission, which is always a very valid and valuable need for any prayer space, to get the head's permission. And this was straightforward because we were well known, we were already in the school, we had great relationships with the teachers, as we're by now sixth formers and responsible, and Mr. Howard as a teacher backed us up incredibly. So just an aside, students already have that way in. They don't need to look for ways to get involved in school, they're there every single day. So just something to think about. Students are certainly a really good open door. So once we got permission, the time was then to send off lots of emails requesting world maps, bean bags, fairy lights, all those classic prayer space needs. And I really spent the most of my time following that stuff up. How did it actually work? We set up the space after school on Friday and before school on Monday of the week it was due to open, which was a bit manic, but it all came together just in time. But before even creating the space, I was already getting the word out that something was happening in the chapel. And this is where being a student and running a prayer space comes in really handy. Because I was in school, I organised a basic countdown where I ran around every morning putting up posters that said 5 days till ... 3 days, 4 days, and so on. So I also put notes in registers. Our school had an assembly every morning, so I'd go to the front of assembly, give an announcement, the prayer space is open, come and check it out. So in the whole school, no pupil didn't know that there was a space on. So that was really great to be so open and able to talk about it to everyone. The space had 6 prayer stations, and the space was open before school, at break, at lunch, and after school. It was casually manned in that someone from our team of 6 would be there when the space was open, but we wouldn't talk students through the stations. It was just open for people to drop in and make their own way around. No one supervised it during lessons, as all the supervisors were students. What happened? How did other staff and students respond? Throughout the week, gradually more and more people came to visit. The RS staff, who I already had a relationship with due to lessons and things, came to check it out, and they loved it so much that they voluntarily arranged to bring their Year 8 and Year 9 classes throughout the week, which got a lot more space and use for the prayer space. Our head gave us permission to keep the space open for an extra week, which meant we could keep the momentum going longer. And as we've been talking about today, the most important thing is what happens after the prayer space, and the impact on my school was just phenomenal. Because of the prayer space, the chapel became a more open and familiar place in school, and one of the stations we did was the one question zone, and this generated so much interest that we ran a youth alpha the next year and had over 40 regular attendees, and one of my best friends became a Christian, so that was wonderful. And also, I became deputy head girl. Thank you. With the specific responsibility to overseeing CU and the spiritual life and Christian life of the school, all because I'd stood for something that I believed in and kind of put a lot of effort into it, which was amazing, such an amazing platform. So that's my story. How could it work for you? Student-led prayer spaces could work if a student is responsible enough and trusted enough in their school environment. Do you know any? You may be a teacher, a parent, a youth worker. I just challenge you to think about who you could see running a prayer space. What we need to do is to challenge the young people we know to think about what they want to see in their schools. Get them talking. It's really powerful when students realise that school doesn't just have to be what they tolerate from 9 till 3 every day, but is actually their mission field. Mr. Howard inspired me by simply asking the question, what do you want to see God do in your school this year? What question can you ask your young people that you know? Why I would suggest students running a prayer space over any other initiative is prayer spaces in school is a perfect thing for students to get involved in. They're manageable. They last between 1 day to 2 weeks. It doesn't have to overrun their whole, school year. They're also very open and flexible. No talks need to be given. There's no pressure to speak or lead up front. All they need is imagination and time to set up the prayer space. Prayer spaces also make an impact, and students love to see rooms transformed, to learn about creative ways to pray, to connect with God, and ask big questions. And prayer spaces in schools offers all those things. So, where you come in, you as adults will support action. I couldn't have run the prayer space without people like Catherine or Mr. Howard saying it could be done, or my mum driving the fairy lights and the cushions to school for me, or Bill from HT bringing down all the beanbags. Adults are fantastic at actually getting stuff done, and students need you to support their ideas and help think of practical ways to make a prayer space happen. Examples of things you can help with: simply you can source station materials. You can help set up the space. If you're already known to the school, you can help man the space during school time. You might find that students open up to you a bit more than they would to a fellow student or a peer. But possibly the most important thing you can do is be a consistent presence in the school. Adults stay, but students leave. The following year, 2012, I was saying goodbye to Lady Margaret School, but Mr. Howard is still there, running Christian Union and enabling more students like myself to set up things that they feel God is calling them to do. By helping a student run a prayer space, that could be your opening to being more connected with the school. You can build on the relationship from there and perhaps be asked to lead another prayer space or whatever your local school needs. So just the 3 things I want to leave you with is challenge thought. Challenge your young people to think about what they want to see God do. This inspires vision. It helps them to use their platform that God has given them right now, which is amazing that they get to interact with children, their peers, every single day. And it's great to let their eyes be open to what that could actually mean. And you can support action. You can enable them and see doors open to you as well. Thank you.